Welcome to the race. Oh, for fuck. Guys, I'd like to say we started this call at 8 o'clock. We started this call at 7:57. It's now 8:25. Welcome to the Race Merchants podcast, hosted by myself, Oscar, Carsey, and Tejay. IFC admins will be hosting infrequent podcasts over the next few months. We're going to talk about real F1, the IFC, and any questions you guys have for us. So I'll start off by introducing my co-host. So we've got Oscar here. Hello, Oscar.
Hello.
We've got Carsey.
Hello, how's it going?
Mark couldn't make it, so we have also got for Tejay, our resident Welshman.
They want me, but they want me. The people want me.
No.
Which people?
My Welsh fans, but first Rambo.
Okay.
There's like 3 Welsh people in IFC.
I think Rambo prefers me, can't lie.
No chance.
Anyway, I think we're gonna get kicked off with some talks about real F1. We've had the Barcelona unofficial preseason testing, which I'm sure we're all intensely scouring through Twitter on. Carsey, what were your thoughts from the 3 days of testing?
So, first off, I definitely need to catch up on the uni lectures that I had when that was happening, because most of the time me and a friend of mine were just sitting on my laptop refreshing the page looking for updates. I was going into it with the expectation that Aston Martin, as my favourite team, with Vettel, my favourite driver, would either be like the best car or the worst car by a mile, because they're so different to everyone else, but it seems like they're just right in the midfield, which is a massive surprise to me. But at the end of the day, I think we were all excited for possible surprises up at the front, but it looks like we could very well just have a Mercedes and Red Bull at the front once again. Obviously, you can't tell too much from testing, but that's what I took out of it.
It is interesting how different everything is this season, and yet even though everything's so different and unpredictable, that it seems to be the 3 teams you predicted at the front are still at the front of Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari. Now, what do you think, Oscar?
Well, I mean, I was doing the same as Carsey. I was just refreshing it, but we can't predict anything until Bahrain. Not even the testing, but the actual race and qualifying.
Do you think that this week's testing will tell us anything new?
I think we'll know. We'll get a direction, but we won't actually know anything. I feel like we'll just know roughly who's gonna be mid-table, or mid of the grid, or
Yeah, I think Aston looks firmly mid-table at the moment.
I think Alpine looks shocking. Also, to be fair.
You think that looks shocking, really?
Yeah.
It has some reliability issues.
Reliability issues.
Yeah, but did they not say something about that they were sort of going into this test looking more for performance and reliability or something like that, or am I making that up?
They didn't get much
apparently,
performance
Merck
either,
commented with a completely different car with no side.
Yeah, the no side pod thing is ridiculous. If we see a car with no side pod,
I've seen so many concepts of it. It looks so weird.
It was from some Italian journalist.
Yeah,
that's so
I'd say it's
reliable.
Dubious at best, but
What
we'll find out tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll find out tomorrow morning. Just to add to the whole point of we have absolutely no idea what's going on. You sent in a photo, Aiden, of I think what was it, 2020 pre-season test, and then it was topped by Raikkonen in the Alfa Romeo.
We probably finished 16th in the championship or something.
Yeah, we all know how that season turned out for Alfa. So we really have to take every single result with a pinch of salt. Although Mercedes often tend to sandbag in pre-season tests, and I remember back when it was Mercedes versus Ferrari, it was always Ferrari topping testing every season, and Mercedes would be further back. And even if you look back to last year in 2021, you would have seen it looked like Hamilton was in a dreadful car that whole pre-season testing, because not only was he off the pace, he was spinning and all a lot too. But then they ended up having arguably the best car, possibly the second best. But then this season, if they're still sandbagging that much and they're still the quickest, let's just hope that they've went for some kind of different program to what they usually run, or else we're in for absolute domination.
I would personally be surprised if their sandbagging is hard, because last year there were slight regulation changes, but they still knew a lot about their car. This year, they're not going to know anywhere near as much, and I think it makes a lot more sense to take your car closer to its real performance to get much more information. But that's just how I see it. Tejay, what are you thinking?
Of testing? Of what we've seen in Spain?
Yeah.
We expected Red Bull and Mercedes to be the teams clear at the front, but McLaren and Ferrari showed that they can be there at the first race. We haven't seen a lot of performance runs. You might see more in testing over the next few days, but them two look sharp from what we've seen in Spain. So hopefully we can have a few teams now battling at the front. Or just you've McLaren's, Ferraris, Red Bulls, Mercedes.
Yeah, it definitely seems to me that those top four, Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, and McLaren, are going to be way clear of the rest of the field. They just seem a lot more solid in pretty much every way than everyone else. So it could just be every other team sort of just fighting over points when you sort of have those four just a little level ahead.
Does look surprisingly similar to last season in that
It really does.
to me it looked like Alfa Romeo and Haas were having a horrid time of it. And they looked like they could still be the only ones who looked like they had made like a significant shift from where they were previously was Williams, who looked like they'd kind of arrived at the midfield instead of
they look strong
back with Alfa and Haas. But Alfa and Haas had a horrid time of it with reliability and lap times were poor.
I think Williams like fifth on the like lap charts. They've done like a lot more than what like the teams around them, like Haas and Alfa Romeo and things like that. So it was a good first test for Williams.
Yeah, I remember in the past couple of years in testing, Williams sometimes wouldn't even been able to like run on the first day, but they really seem to have their stuff together this testing here. They seem to actually function like a team that knows what they're doing.
2019.
Was it 2019? They literally just didn't even have a
when
car,
they produced one of the worst F1 cars in history.
Kubica got a point in it.
Somehow, after disqualification.
Surely the Haas from last season is the worst one
ever. 2019 Williams was something, mate. It was something. It was a dog.
What was that car in the 90s, which was like a minute
there
off
was
the pace?
like a Lola or something?
God.
MasterCard Lola.
I read about that car, and they had two cars which were completely different. One had like a W12.
No, that was Life. That was Life.
Oh, was that Life? Like one had a W12 and one had like a flat 8 engine. They were completely different cars, both equally terrible.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Haas ended up rolling up to Bahrain with something like that. One of them's got like a moped engine in the back. They're just having to make do because the cargo plane is broke down on them.
Oh, good.
So, I honestly wouldn't be surprised.
And what do we think of Mazepin losing his seat?
I think it's justified. I mean, like, I know it's not fair on Mazepin, but like, in order for like, I don't know, for the long term, it was never gonna work out anyway.
Yeah, I kind of agree that it's like I don't I don't think he should be kicked because of what's going on in like Russia and stuff. I don't think he's obviously got nothing to do with that. Russian athletes shouldn't be kicked out because they're Russian, but at the same time, it makes zero sense for Haas to keep Mazepin. He's not a good driver compared to the likes out there. Like Magnussen is a far better driver than he is. I mean, we can get on to Magnussen in a second. But if he's not bringing the financial incentive that he was before, there's no reason to keep him.
The thing is,
as harsh as it is on him.
The two big points is that one, his dad is literally linked with Putin. So like, and then number two, like the only reason he's in that seat, it's not because of merit, it's because of the money and like the sponsor. So like, there's no need for Haas to actually keep him.
Yeah, that's it. Basically, Mazepin is a pay driver that brings no money to the table anymore. Which the only reason he's there is because of the money.
PSG just scored. Sorry,
he's competent behind the wheel, but I wouldn't go much further than that. If he's bringing no money, there is absolutely no point whatsoever in keeping him. So there'll be drivers that are better with them that now can bring more money because they actually have sponsors. That aren't.
And Guan Yu Zhou is effectively the same situation.
Yeah.
Guan Yu Zhou and Mazepin were effectively the same level in F2. They were pretty around each other in the standings, and I'm sure Guan Yu Zhou is bringing in hundreds of millions to that Alfa Romeo team with all his Chinese sponsors.
Yeah, like Joe after his third season in F2 still hadn't won it. I believe Mazepin did 3 seasons in F2, and now Joe I think came second or third in his. Yeah, he did too. But Joe came like second or third, whereas Mazepin was 6th or something. But Joe, I would say that probably the season before 2020's F2 season was a bit stronger than last season's. As much as Piastri's been outstanding. I think just like on average, there was more drivers towards the top with the likes of Schumacher and Eilert, and Tsunoda. But
Yeah.
I think like 6th in F2 isn't something to like make fun of, but I don't know if it's F1.
I was gonna say
Caliber.
you're definitely a decent driver.
Yeah.
Although F2, as much as F2's still got a lot of fishy stuff going on with, as much as it's a spec series.
Yeah. If
No
you're
one's
driving for
driving the same
Prema,
car.
you've got the best chance of winning. Like
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
A lot of dodgy stuff goes on in F2, which we could talk about for hours, I'm sure. But I think the sixth place in F2, does that warrant an F1 seat? I would say almost definitely not. I think if you're not right at the front,
Like even Visa's a first place doesn't guarantee a seat. So watch their 6th place or 5th place guarantee one.
Yeah.
like Nick De Vries F2 championship, I did not find particularly impressive.
No,
was
that was the
third
weakest
season.
season of F2 I've seen in a long time.
Nicholas Latifi was runner-up in that season, who is another one who to be fair, he has improved a lot as a driver, I think, since
I think he's underrated. I don't know. I think he doesn't. I don't know. I'm not like underrated as in like
He's overrated.
sick, but like he's not bad.
I think he's overrated. He's not bad, but I think people are calling for him to get a Mercedes drive and all. I saw an
That's
article
just jokes. Sure, that's just jokes.
Come on, I know
No
he's
one
an
actually
F2
thinks
champion, but it was a very weak season of F2, and it took him 3 seasons with his best opposition being Latifi. You know what I mean?
Formula E is such a weird championship.
It is, yeah.
Their format is so bizarre.
I hate it. I can't lie. I hate the whole Formula E
Like
thing.
it's effective. If you win the race before, you have 0 chance of winning the next one, right? That's how it works, basically. Because their qualifying groups, their tracks are not real tracks, so they're not rubbered in at all. And they do qualifying in like groups. So like they have like 10 cars go out and then another 10 cars go out. And then I might be wrong. This might be how it used to be, but then the track evolution is so high because they're not real tracks; they're not rubbered in.
Yeah.
If you're in the first group, you have 0 chance of being on pole.
That's a good point,
It's a bit of a strange way of going about it.
Do you know what I also don't get? Like, I know like, it sounds cool initially, but like over fan base, we like vote for someone.
No, fan base is silly.
I don't know. It's just stupid.
I think most Formula E fans
I mean, I don't watch it. I don't know, but I feel like the same drivers just get voted. Like, I feel like if I was thinking F1, like imagine like all the Lando Norris stand just voting like for him all the time.
Nah, it would just be Max. It would be Max every
Max.
time.
Like Max or Lewis, yeah, literally.
Max got the most diehard fan base. It would be
100%.
Max every time. Or no, actually no, it would be whoever is behind Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, literally.
I think Hamilton is more hated
in Formula E,
loved.
the voting starts a week before the race and it finishes like mid-race or something like that. It's so weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was reading about it a few days ago.
Dead.
I know, it's weird.
If you're gonna do it at all, which is a stupid idea, it should be just in the race.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's crazy that like the championship can be fan decided. I find that bizarre.
Yeah, that is, but it's a different motorsport. I guess they don't want everything to be the same in every
It's
motorsport.
literally Mario Kart.
They have the attack mode.
It is though. It is though.
Bro,
I wouldn't be surprised if it had like banana peels and shit into it. Just green shells and blue shells.
Bro, yeah, bro, you could be lost. You get that fan boost. You can just get the bullet. Just drive all the way through.
Get a blue shell, it just explodes first place. The car just explodes, and then like
drive through for the leader.
They have like a dartboard with different drivers' faces on it. Whoever the dart throws on, they just cut off the electricity of their car.
Do they have pit stops?
If they do, but like
change carding.
You don't want you don't want to pit stop in a race because it just fucks you over.
Yeah.
Like if you need to pit, you're fucked basically.
Shall we talk about our favourite liveries? And this can also tie into the cars we want to drive.
Yeah, it's Ferrari.
Next season.
Ferrari's
exciting. Ferrari.
The nicest livery I've seen in a long time. Of, like,
do you know what the worst livery is? And I stand by this. Mercedes. I think it's collapsed. I think it's a mess of a car.
You know what? I think I agree with you.
And then Mbappe scored again.
I think Mercedes is an ugly car this year. I really do.
I think it's worse than Haas.
I don't think it's incredible, but like it's
I
just
think it's
Haas.
Well, no, Haas is the worst. Yeah, I'd put Mercedes second worst.
Do you think Haas will have a new livery without any?
Yeah, they will.
So.
Yeah. I think they'll go back to like the original Haas livery, like the white, grey,
really like that
red,
the black and gold
one. Like.
No, not
Oh,
Rich
that was
Energy,
Rich
the
Energy,
actual Haas one.
Oh, that one,
like
right.
red, grey, white.
Yeah.
Alright. It's alright.
I wasn't a big fan of that. They could do something better, like, but I guess
Merc is
that
better
is.
than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
like the
Mark's better
Alpine.
than
It's
that.
literally a
I
career
actually,
mode.
I quite like the Alpine, but I'll tell you why I think I quite like it, because I heard about the BWT and thinking that's not going to work at all. Then they walked out during the car launch in their overalls, and I thought that this is going to be the ugliest car I've ever seen. And then it just ended up being not great. But because I was expecting like something really offensive, I thought, that's not that bad, and I was pleasantly surprised. So I think because my expectations were so low, I think it's better than it is, to be honest.
Alpine livery reveal is one of the weirdest things I've ever watched.
Remember
So
last year?
good.
Who was the Alpine thingy last year? It was so laggy. It was like moving at 2 frames per second
Oh
last year.
yeah, Ocon was like talking. It was like a 2D version of him.
Yeah,
but,
and they're like holograms and shit. It didn't
Alpine,
work at all.
I can't lie. I saw a lot of people complaining about the Alpine car launch. I loved it. I thought it was by far the most
The
entertaining because it was
dancing
such a
before it. The
disaster.
dancing.
Yeah, it was such. And then it had like strobe lights and all for like some random guy no one has ever heard of coming onto the stage, and it's like, okay.
That's some like French dubstep.
Yeah,
And like dance troupe.
I don't
Just in
understand.
blue.
I think some people take themselves too seriously. I don't know. I don't understand why people have like a real problem with that. It was bad. Like it was bad, but it was so bad it was very entertaining to
No,
me.
but like they didn't have a mind. They didn't have a viewpoint of like this is really bad, so it's funny. They thought it was sick.
No, they thought it was sick, but
Exactly.
I mean, for any
that makes them clowns.
No,
Okay.
they're clowns. But I mean, like just people saying, "Oh, that was dreadful. I can't believe I'm even watching this." But it's like it's funny.
Well, no, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I still think they're clowns.
Yeah, I know they're clowns, but people that didn't enjoy it, I don't get that. I thought it was great.
Yeah, but that's like people like ski on or something. It is boring.
We're not in the slander section yet.
Oh, sorry. We'll get onto that later. We'll get onto that later.
We got to that late.
Sorry. I got ahead of myself there. Do we want to hit with some predictions for the season? Should we start with the driver's champion from each of us?
Oh, okay.
TJ?
Lewis Hamilton will win his 8th World Championship, I reckon.
You want him to, don't you, TJ?
I don't want him to, absolutely not. I want Verstappen to win it again, but yeah, 100%. I'm a Verstappen fan.
Okay.
Someone.
Oscar?
I don't know, because I feel like we need to do this again in the next episode after testing. But what like?
We can look at if any of our opinions have changed.
Yeah.
Maybe, but right now, if you're a betting man, who's your money on?
I'll say Verstappen.
Is that Carsey?
So I actually have placed a bet, but I'm not going to make my bet be my prediction, just because the bet had good odds, and I think there's a chance. I bet it on Sainz, but
Well, I saw
what are the odds you got on Sainz?
But I just have a good feeling about Ferrari, so I'm gonna.
I do also have a feeling with Leclerc.
For my prediction, I'm saying Leclerc. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Leclerc,
That's my prediction.
I
love
also
Leclerc.
think Hamilton will win his 8th, personally.
No.
I'm
surprised. No one said Russell. What do you think? How do you think Russell's
No, I
gonna
want
fare?
Russell to win.
How do you think Russell's gonna fare this season against Lewis?
Do better than what Bottas has done, I think.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
He's
easily.
closer to Hamilton. But Bottas went bad in qualified. He did have his moments, like.
No,
but in
Bottas
the
had a
race,
shit
like,
season
Russell
last
beat
year.
him.
Bottas wasn't a
He
bad
won one
qualifier.
race.
Russell
Yeah,
did like much better in the race.
Before last season, I predicted that Bottas would win one of the first 3 races and then not win any other race. I was close. He did win one race. It just wasn't one of the first 3.
It just took
Was
him
it
like 10
Turkey, right?
races.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be, he low-key just won it by default.
Yeah, because Lewis was at the back. Yeah,
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, everyone's saying, or even I heard Tejay saying there, that Russell will be better than... Like, I like Russell, don't get me wrong, I think he's great, but he'd be better than Bottas in the race. Russell's never really shown good race pace, apart from in that Bahrain short race. He's always fallen back in the race from where he's qualified.
But you've said that
from
he's...
Hungary.
But I think that's because, in my opinion, the driver has more of an impact in quality than the race. It's more of a car in the race.
You think?
Yes. Yeah, it's about who can take it to ragged edge
That's the point, because quality is
on
just
that
like...
one quali lap. There's
I
a
would
reason that the
disagree.
only race Russell has showed good race pace in is when he was in a good car.
No, but I mean, even in comparison to the cars around him, or even Latifi, his race pace isn't all that good. I mean, if it wasn't for Russell's race in Mercedes in 2020, Latifi would have beat him in the championship. just from better finishes, even with
Yeah, but
no.
I swear he's won like all-ish like championships like before F1, like F2,
Yeah,
F3,
no,
all
Russell
that.
was very, very impressive in F2. Yeah, he was indeed. So I think he'd be good, but people forget how fantastic Bottas was before he got that Mercedes seat. Like, there was no doubt that it
Yeah.
was going to be him because of how amazing he was in Williams before that, like getting podiums in a car that should never be getting podiums,
You know,
stuff like
he
that.
battered Felipe Massa.
Yeah, and Massa
It was
is
a
no
good.
slouch.
He'd fallen off a bit, but he was still a good
Bottas
driver.
was fantastic before Mercedes, and even in his first season, Mercedes in a new car, he
Well,
won
in
like
17,
2
he's
3
brilliant.
races. He was
Titles are
great.
brilliant.
Yeah, he was great. So I don't know. I think a lot of people are overestimating Russell. I hope I'm wrong because I'd love to see him do great, but I think a lot of people just see him, doing well in the Williams, having the F2 title, and automatically think that he's gonna bring it to Hamilton. But Hamilton's one of the greatest of all time. I don't think and even if he is good enough, I don't think Mercedes will let him. Just like at the start of 2019 with Vettel and Leclerc.
Here's a question:
Maybe.
when do you think he will retire, Hamilton?
At the end of this season, whether
This
he wins or
season?
loses, I think this is his last season.
I think he'll only retire if he wins.
Yeah.
Personally, I think he'll.
Yeah,
I think he'll do at least. If he doesn't win, he'll do at least one more.
Yeah, I was about to say if like, he does 2
I think
seasons, if he doesn't win.
I don't know. I just don't see it. But he is contracted until the end of next season. But obviously he has the power
That doesn't mean anything.
I think with Hamilton, the contract secondary, he's just going to do what he wants.
Yeah,
he's
got
enough power.
In any team, a contract means nothing. Right.
Well, if you're someone as big and as Lewis Hamilton, it means nothing. Maybe if you're like, I don't know, someone a bit smaller with a bit less power in the team and stuff. But Lewis will do whatever the fuck he wants. Like, it won't be anything outside of what he wants to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think if he wins his 8th, he will not have enough motivation to do another season. He'll see
He just wants a record, that's it.
I think he'll just go for 8 and then he'll rest on his 8 laurels.
But do you think if he, if he knows he's still at the top of his game and he could further extend the record, would he not want to do that?
I don't know. There's these interviews of him talking about how like draining it is and how there's other things he wants to do outside of
it would be like very stressful every season. Well, I don't think 2020 would have been particularly stressful for him. But 2017, 2018, 2021 would have been tough.
He was literally racing on 20 AI in 2020.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's about it. It was tough to watch as a fan of just good racing. And a Vettel fan, actually, now that I think about it.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
We got some Williams-Ferrari battles, which people had been asking for again.
I remember in 2020, like, no matter what, it was just Vettel next to Raikkonen. Like, no matter where either of them were, they were always right next to each other.
They're good friends.
These aren't teammates anymore. Please stop this.
They missed each other. Looking away from F1 slightly, I don't know how closely you guys follow it, but what do you think will be happening this season of F2, which I think is looking to be very exciting?
I don't watch it.
I hardly watch it, so I don't know.
I watch every race, but I don't actually know what the grid is. I'm sure Dennis Hauger's moving up from.
Yep. I know the F3 drivers moving up are Dennis Hauger, Jack Doohan, and Logan Sargent, I believe.
Sargent? Okay, that's.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it will be very hard to bet against Hauger after how he drove in F3. I will say his opening half of F3 last season was more impressive than his latter half. But it'll be hard to bet against him. He was stellar last season. Will he be in Prema again?
Yes, he is in Prema.
Then yeah, I would assume, or not assume.
Next to, he's also Jehan Deruval has gone to Prema, who's not a bad driver.
What?
Deruval has gone to Prema.
Really?
Yep.
Whereas
I will say,
went?
the Hauger and Doohan did 2 F2 races at the tail end of the F2 season last year.
Yes, and Doohan was great.
Doohan was far more impressive.
Yeah, Doohan was fantastic.
I will also say, do you not think Teo Pourchaire will be able to take his... He's so young, but do you not think after a year of experience he'll be able to take it to next level?
I really hope so.
It
is technically his 3rd year because he did a few races in 2020, but it's his 2nd full year.
It's his 2nd season.
But I really hope so. I think he has a hell of a lot of potential. And, a lot of people, if they don't win it within 3 seasons, then it's sort of over for them. But he's so young, you know what I mean? He's, 18?
Yeah, he would be in my year at school, which is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, he's 18.
it's crazy me watching that and seeing him win Monaco and realizing he's younger than me. So I really hope Tejay does, and if he doesn't, then I don't think it's good to count him out yet because of how young he is. I think we should still, give him another chance.
And there's two other interesting things that I saw looking at the F2 2022 grid. They've got a driver that you had on ropes in some 5-lappers, Carsey. There's Enzo Fittipaldi.
Yeah.
You've raced against, and then there's also ex F1 esports driver Chem.
I did. I heard about that. That'll be interesting to see how he fares up.
And I'll say, I know it's only preseason, but preseason testing, his times were like midfield. They were competitive. He was not getting
That's
dropped.
impressive. That's very impressive.
I think it'll be very interesting.
I'll be rooting for him now.
I would love to see him do well.
Me
He's
too.
in Toulouse, which isn't great, his team.
But yeah, I hope Enzo does well as well, because the worse he does, the worse my race against him ages. Yeah.
he is teammates with Chet. They're both in Toulouse. So that's kind of interesting in itself as well.
Yeah, that will be very interesting.
And then,
because
was he involved in the crash in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, he was. He broke his ankle, I believe.
Yeah. Was he the one who didn't move, or was he the one who hit the back of someone?
He hit the back of Porsche. I believe he broke his ankle. So I hope he's fully recovered and ready for the new season and can actually get good practice and all and testing in.
He was at preseason testing, so I assume
he's
okay. I assume he's fine now.
That's good.
They had a fairly long break, so
yeah, he's a good guy, and let's hope he shows his pace and gets some decent results, because last season was pretty dire.
And speaking of F2, it's a little bit sad that Oscar Piastri is going to have to be sidelined for this year after winning.
I know.
Which I loved watching him race in F2.
Yeah, I didn't have a favourite going into the first race weekend, but he became my favourite coming out of it.
Thing is, where does he go next season then? Because I don't see Alonso, for example, retiring. I don't know.
I think. Okay, this is my opinion. If Alpine are intelligent. Oh wait, how long is Alonso's contract? Does anyone know?
I think it ends this
year.
Exactly. Okay. If they are forward thinking, even though Alonso will be good maybe for this season, I think they would be wise to sign Piastri in that season instead of Alonso and be forward thinking, because there's no way another team doesn't go for him.
Something mad like that. Some long ass contract with Alpine.
It's like 3 years or something. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Max has 5 years.
Yeah, Max got 5 years on like 40 million euros, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is mental. Like,
he's earning as much as Hamilton. Yeah.
Just shows how much they want him,
Yeah, it shows how valuable he is to them. But
Starboy.
I think if Alpine do not nail down Piastri for next year, he will leave them.
Yeah,
he is such a
go somewhere else. Yeah.
If Alpine lose Piastri, that will be one of the biggest missed opportunities.
Because
he's not Nick De Vries. He's not just an F2 champion you can sit on the side. He won 3 championships in his rookie season in 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
He won Formula Renault, Formula 3, Formula 2.
Yeah, have any of you watched it's sort of like a Drive to Survive, but for F2, it just came out a few days ago.
Yeah, I saw
it's
that,
called Chasing the Dream. And did you see the Piastri episode?
No.
He showed around his house, and I thought, I don't know why, but I thought they would have lived in nicer places, to be honest. Like, he lived in a very, very small house. In
to be fair, they are travelling all the time, so
I know, but his bedroom was a mess. Like, he was very, very messy guy. He didn't even have any food in the fridge.
He's not wealthy, is he? He's not bringing any money to teams.
No, that's the thing. I have no idea.
I don't think he is.
But I know, I just pictured them living in some kind of luxury,
One thing I do like is that he's managed by Mark Webber, and I like Mark.
I know, yeah, there was a lot of Mark in that episode.
I like Mark. I haven't seen it. I might have to watch it now.
It's a really good episode. It's very good.
And do you think he was ever an option for the Haas seat for this year?
I don't think Alpine would earn.
I think if he was an option for the Haas seat, he would have it, to be honest, because it's just losing that chance of having him with how amazing he's been in those young disciplines. It would be a real shame to give up on an opportunity to have him. I can't believe he doesn't have a seat this season. He's the first F2 champ since De Vries that hasn't had a seat, and he's arguably the most impressive, really, excluding maybe Leclerc.
Yeah, I think Leclerc and Russell are the only ones you can really compare his season to because they both also won it fairly dominantly in their rookie season.
Yeah.
With a decent amount of competition as well. Like he was up against some good drivers. Although I don't know, I would say that especially Russell's season was more competitive.
Yeah.
In fact, Guan Yu Zhou finished. Did he finish second or third?
Third, I think.
Joe got.
And then Schwartzman
Yeah.
second.
Mhm.
Yeah. Although as how impressive he was, that is, in my opinion, a less competitive grid compared to
Yeah, I would
Norris,
say so.
Albon, De Vries, and then Leclerc was racing against some good drivers as well.
Yeah. Well, Leclerc season
It wasn't as I think
really have like
2018
Ollie
was
Rowland.
2018 was the most competitive, I think. But
Yeah, I would agree with that.
who would you? Okay, if we had the option of Hulkenberg and Magnussen, who are we picking, guys, for the Hassi?
I mean, it's a Haas. Doesn't
Wanna
matter
go
who.
first, Oscar?
Doesn't matter who it is. To be first, still gonna score no points. I don't know. I don't know about
I
Hulkenberg
think-
anymore. Like, he had the potential, but I don't know. I don't know.
I
I
Have
think
don't
you
think he still has
Hulkenberg
it.
is massively overrated.
He is definitely overrated now. But he definitely had
it's-
the potential. He had so much potential, but
Have
It's the
either
thing-
you ever seen the Brazilian Grand Prix in 2010?
No.
It was Hulkenberg's first ever season in a. It was a
well, I saw on
Williams, which
Twitter
was
and he qualified like what was it?
he got pole. He got pole in
Yeah,
one of the worst
pole,
cars in the grids, and it was no fuel loads or whatever. It was just an equal quality session. He got pole. Can't remember what happened in the race, to be honest. Maybe he had a
He
hydraulics
crashed.
issue or something.
He was in
What
an
was it?
incident.
There was
Remember.
2012. He was on to win and then crashed with Hamilton. So yeah, Hulkenberg, you could say in his first ever season in one of the worst cars getting pole, that man had a hell of a lot of potential. Definitely deserved a few podiums, which he never got, but at the end of the day, most of the times he lost them were his own fault.
So although he was unlucky on occasions, you can't do that many. He did so many races. He was in F1 for like 10 years almost, wasn't it? And like at some point, you cannot just chalk it down to luck. It has got to be something to do with the driver. And I think that people just looking back have a better opinion of people. They always they remember the good stuff. They don't remember how
Especially when
depressingly
he's as
average he
likeable.
was at most races.
Yeah, like I remember when I was in Germany 2019, just with all the mayhem Hulkenberg was on for a second or a first possibly in the race. And we were like, are we going to see Hulkenberg get his first podium in front of his home crowd? And then he binned it. And I'm like, okay. Quite
What year was
disappointing.
Ricciardo's Renault? Was it 18 and 19?
He was definitely there 19. He was there 20.
Was it 19 that it was
18 was Red
Hulkenberg
Bull.
or Ricciardo?
Yes, 19 was Hulkenberg.
Okay,
Yeah.
if you ever, I just randomly on YouTube watch old races. If you ever watch a 2019 race, you'll very frequently see Ricciardo qualified like P8 or something, and Hulkenberg will be 17th. And it was
Yes,
like
Ricardo
he
was
just really
completely
like
outclassed him.
he showed a lot of potential young, but I would have taken Magnussen. I feel like
How was Magnussen?
he's not young, but like
Magnussen's a better driver than a lot of people give him credit for.
I think he's underrated in my opinion.
The guy has had the best
29.
F1 debut of all time. He
29.
finished second on his first ever race. That's his only podium. So it
it's
really
quite
went
funny that
downhill
it's his only podium.
from his debut.
More podiums than Hulkenberg.
Yeah, it
that's
took him only
true.
one race to get more than Hulkenberg.
That must hurt. That must sting. Yeah, that's why he got. That's why he got picked over. It was based on podiums. That's the only thing they looked at.
Number of P2s.
Tejay's return from his Wi-Fi going down.
Alright, shall we move on to some IFC talk, maybe?
Yeah, sure.
And
I think it's a shit league.
We've got three incredibly... we could start... Oh, we can go through all of them. Do you want to go through all the tiers and just have a little chat about all of them briefly?
Well, I
Yeah.
don't watch tier 4 to tier 7, but you know you move.
Okay. Well, we can just have a look at the standings.
I do.
Do you?
I
You have the time
always have
for
them
it.
on, depending on how much I watch is not always the same. But tier 7, you have your driver Cracker leading.
Cracker's been class, but Cracker's bottled a few times, not on track, just by falling asleep before the race.
Where did he finish in Portimao?
He didn't race.
Oh, okay. He's
Like,
got a
he
30-point
fell
lead.
asleep.
to my driver Storms in the Haas,
Yeah.
who is just, I think, has been somewhat less consistent, but he still picked up a couple wins, the same as Cracker. But Cracker's got 4 P2s.
Yeah, Crackers. Yeah, he's been driving very well.
But the constructors is actually incredibly close. You've got Haas 156, Alpha 153, Williams 145.
Yeah.
And I think
That's
it
the
will
question.
actually, like, Storms and Crack will probably just keep getting wins and podiums, but it will be a lot on the second driver as well. So how
Yeah,
much
and
you
Cracker
rely
didn't have a second driver until like a race or two ago.
That's definitely, it's not been helping him, that's for sure.
No.
But
So yeah, it's looking good for Williams, I must say, as long as he keeps showing up.
another one that's looking good for your academy is Westy seems to be somewhat walking the tier 6 championship now that LMG Optic hasn't had a couple no-shows.
With Westy, I don't know. Half the time he dominates with the win, the other time he qualifies dreadfully and crashes out. And I don't know how to fit. I don't know. I think I need to stop watching them because I haven't actually watched any of the ones he's won. I've only watched the ones he's had horrible times. I've only been free for those ones because I'm not usually free on Fridays.
The nature of tier 6 is that none of them will be incredibly consistent. Some of them will be a bit faster than the other, but no one's got that incredible like consistency to do it week in, week out. And he's got 2 wins, I think. He won in tier 5
early,
though.
Right? No, I wish I think he got like 13th in tier 6 that race.
Again, consistency. And someone, probably the most dominant of any of the tiers is Taylor in tier 5.
Taylor should never have been placed in tier 5. I was very against it at the time. I don't know why we put him in tier 5.
Well, he had a pretty dreadful previous season, but
yeah, but towards the end
he
was completely outpacing Ronda. I remember he gapped Ronda by 10 seconds in 5 laps in a Singapore race. And we're putting Ronda in tier 3, and I was like... But yeah, I mean, to his credits, it's our fault he's there, and he's making the most of it. He's driving very well.
One which is a bit more interesting is tier 4, and we've got, as with most tiers, it's my driver against your driver, Carsey.
Yeah, Peyton.
And it's Pines against Captain Angus, who has had some incredible misfortune with glitches of the game.
He got disqualified for overtaking the safety car last race.
Didn't he have something at Baku as well?
It's possible. It's very
he had a
possible.
no score. I think something happened to him at Baku.
Yeah, Angus somehow...
How many reserves were there in Baku for tier 4? Like, only 3 people scored points in the standings. Look.
Oh my god, yeah, you're right.
Maybe people just didn't want to race Baku.
Yeah.
But I think Legacy's done a lot better than Captain Angus's teammate in Kopi, so Ferrari have got a pretty firm grasp on the constructors at the moment by about 60 points, I think.
Yeah. But,
Oscar, do you want to talk us through what's going on in tier 3? You've done... Actually, you haven't done many tier 3 races.
I was on a few in my time. Well, actually, what happened to Mazepin? Hold on, I saw recently he's been... Did he race Baku? Oh, he crashed out, didn't he? That's what he did.
Crashed out and he got P3 in Portugal, Mint got P2. I believe the updated standings is like there's 1 point between them, I believe.
3 points, 4 points.
Crazy championship.
No, but with Portugal.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, Portugal, forgot about that. Oh.
This is the closest championship we have, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a crazy one.
And I think...
Mint's gonna back up, of course, so it's fine.
Mint's IFC career has been very up and down. Was it season 2? He did tier 1. He had a really strong pace.
Yeah.
Very
good
just
win every
qualifier.
race. I called him the heaviest right foot in IFC. Because he would just
always
spin
poly well
all the time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, his quality's insane.
He's a great guy. Meant to the legend.
He does sick in tier 2 as well in quality. Like, when he reserves in quality, in tier 2.
Yeah.
He could get through. He'd be able to hang out quite easily in a tier 1 qualifying session, I think.
Yeah.
But
Q2.
he would suffer in the race due to
the heavy
right foot, and his quality pace is ahead of his race pace, but I still think he's a strong driver. His race pace is still strong.
He's doing well. I'm happy to see him doing well in tier 3. I think he deserves some luck. Although he hasn't been the most lucky.
Mazepin is... This is my opinion of Mazepin. He's an incredibly quick driver, but he is not an intelligent driver.
No.
He came out nowhere.
I watched him race, and he drives well. He's technically good. But his decision making is poor. And I think this can go for a lot of drivers lower down who have good pace, but often
Well,
don't get the
it
best
goes for
results.
drivers higher up as well, like Tejay.
No, I
That
feel
is
like
true,
this
yeah.
year, but
literally, I
Drivers
think
often don't
coming,
know
yeah, I
when
think
to fight for a position. When is it important to fight for a position? When is it like
Yeah.
some drivers will
People need
fight
to learn
tooth and nail for
patience.
every position on track.
Yeah,
When it is only
that's the
hurting their
thing
own race.
I played for most in my academy is just please be patient, please.
I saw
But
someone
yeah,
say this that tier 2 is literally like fast drivers, but just stupid drivers. Like we'll just crash all the
I
time.
think,
literally.
but once you get to tier 2, you're pretty damn decent at the game, and it gets to the point where people have egos.
Yeah, that's the main issue, and everyone thinks they're better than everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people have
Yeah.
egos.
But I think they're the first like really good drivers are in tier 2. I think Jacob is actually a very good driver in tier
Yeah.
2.
Jacob could easily hack in tier 1, like.
And I think he will next season. Like he'll be
Yeah.
tier 1 next season, and I think he'll do quite well in it. He'll score points.
Yeah.
Another Joe Kilgore was competitive in tier 1 for 2 seasons, and he took a big break. And I think he is now slowly starting to find that pace back again. He won.
He's getting
He was the fastest
up there.
out of tier 2s in Portimao, and he raced tier 1 and was comfortable. He was doing well until he spun, but he didn't spin in tier 2, and he took the win there. And I think he is slowly on his way back towards where he used to be. But he's a bit of a Ferrari Academy dominance at the moment, which I'm not upset by.
Yeah.
Because I think we are 1, 2, 3 in the drivers, and we are 1 and 2 in constructors after this weekend. And Alfa Romeo have almost double the points of P2, which is a bit of a whitewash there, but there is still a good battle. The top 3 are very close after Portimao in terms of points. And I think I think all 3 of them could win out of Jacob, Bassi, and Kilgore. Who would your money be on?
I want to back Carsey. I think he deserves a break. And he's very solid, but sometimes it doesn't work out for him. So I'll back Carsey.
Bassi's a good driver, yeah. Like in races.
He's a good driver. I really like him, and I really enjoy racing with him for BRT as well. But I think Jacob will prevail, and I think Jacob will win.
So.
I think Jacob is.
I swear Bassi had it in the bag early in the season. Like.
He took 2 wins. He took the first 2 wins, and then he didn't score for 4 races.
All right, yeah.
But he went second in P1 in the last 2. So, I don't know, a bit of a he has purple patches, and then he has a bit of a dip.
Can I just very, very quickly go back to tier 3, because I think it's easy to skip over that and not mention what Zachy Boy's season has been. That season's been a bit of a comedy show for Zachy Boy. So 2 non-finishes at the start, which isn't a big deal. Not much happened there. Then he gets the second at Imola. Then he wins on track in Russia, but he had some kind of penalty that he forgot to clip, which it was, he shouldn't have had the penalty, but he just forgot to clip his race director or something.
I think I remember it. Hold on.
So we couldn't remove it. So that should have been a win. He lost a lot of points there. Then Austria, fine. Japan, I believe Skion takes him out, just bends him in a wall. Then Netherlands gets hit by the safety car. Doesn't score there either. And then Baku, I believe, 2 guys battle. One of them swerves to avoid the other one. Into Zachy Boy, takes him out. And then Portimao got taken out on on turn 3 by a desync.
So Koa desync, wasn't it?
Yeah, Zachy really has not had the best season, despite driving decently well. A lot of stuff has happened to that man to the point where it's actually quite humorous.
I've driven in lobbies with Zachy.
Yeah,
he's a quick driver. He's got good pace. He's a nice guy. So I do feel quite bad for him.
It never comes around for him. Yeah.
Also, I think Dan is doing quite well considering how a lot of people would have written him off in this grid compared to a lot of the quality of the drivers.
Yeah.
And he's ahead of a lot of very strong drivers. Like people like Nifty, who was tier 1 last season, Fozzie, Koa, who we thought was going to be very quick. And Eli has very strong pace.
He's been promoted, right? He's tier 2 now, isn't he?
Is he? No, he's tier 3, isn't he?
Tier 3? Yeah, no, Eli's tier 3.
I swear
But Eli does
uh,
quite. If you compare Eli's qualifying to race finishes, it must be the biggest net loss in the season.
Oh yeah, no, the race finish. Yeah, definitely.
He has
last season as well.
he has a very strong 1-lap pace, but he doesn't have the
He just needs to work on his racecraft a bit.
doesn't have the consistency or like presence of mind.
I
in
think
the
we should give
race.
Eli 100 points for his TikToks. I can't lie.
They are fantastic
They are-
videos.
they are-
I must
they
We
say.
will say,
Exquisite.
if you're listening, Eli, your TikToks did inspire me and Carsey to make a few of our own.
I'll put it
They
in.
have, yeah, I sent them. I know I sent them. I sent them.
We can make another one this
And he's
weekend or
even
over on
commented on
Mexico.
them. Yeah, we can do definitely.
We'll do a
But shall we
weekly.
move on to tier 1 then?
Let's do tier 1. I think the one we can talk about the most. Who would you
Right.
say has been the biggest letdown for you, Carsey, in tier 1?
Biggest letdown in tier 1.
Say it.
That's a tough one. No, it's not you, Tejay, because I didn't expect anything.
Say TJ.
Oh.
Okay, if it's not TJ, I don't really care who it is. But
I would say the biggest letdown would probably be Lee for me, because he's so fast and he's got barely any points. Until recently he had 0, right?
I think he scored. He had 1 P5 at Baku. That's his only points finish.
Yeah, and with the pace he has, he should be maybe like top 7, top 8, based on his pace. Like,
I also would like to say that he's one of the quickest drivers I've ever raced with. Yet, for a mixture of simply not turning up and not finishing, Luca is second last in the championship. Despite being one of the best drivers on the grid, he finds himself 19th, only ahead of Sam, as a matter of fact. Our good friend.
Yeah,
Wheel
but
Sam
I wouldn't
has not
consider
quite-
Sam a letdown. Yeah,
Wheel Sam has not quite caught up to
I didn't
control of Sam
expect
yet.
anything from Will Sam. But he had a solid race in Portimao. No safety cars, no BS like that, and he finished 8th, but a genuine 8th. So I think, and if you look at the people that beat him, the top 7, I think that's about as good as he could have expected.
Yeah.
So hopefully he'll be coming back to form soon.
And the bottom 3 are actually all on 10 points now after that race.
Yeah, very good.
Which is nice.
Very good, very good.
We have the title battle seems to be between Carsey and Stonks now. With Carsey
but you
about
know
15
BC are still
points
in
ahead
it, right?
now.
Okay.
Sorry?
Yeah.
And
BC are still in it.
maybe. I think we're very much outside chances, but I think realistically it will be going down to you and Stonks. I think Stonks is actually surprisingly confident. I've talked to Stonks quite a lot. He really fancies himself at these tracks coming up. He thinks they're a lot better for him than the previous ones.
Yeah, Mexico and Abu Dhabi I'm not happy with, and then the last 4 I'm happy
I quite like Abu Dhabi. I chose
I
it.
hate my least favorite.
I chose
Well,
it. Yeah.
is it my least favorite track? It's up there with Zandvoort. Like, I hate the power.
By doing 4 hours of Brazil practice a few months ago, did that manage to cure your hatred
Yes,
of Brazil?
I now quite like Brazil. Yes.
God, we did so much for that race, and I did about a lap, I think.
I hate Brazil.
Even I would definitely back Stonks this next 2 races. It'll be damage limitation for me. But anything can happen. I can end up winning the both. You never know. You never know what's
You
going to
both
happen.
had your share of bad luck this season, to be fair.
Yeah.
So obviously you retired yourself at. You missed the first race, and the Baku things happened at Baku, and then Stonks had his thing with the safety car in Russia.
Yeah.
And he had his no score in Austria. And he had 4 no scores in a row.
Yeah.
And some were more on him than others, but there was definitely a decent portion of bad luck there. But I think the title charge is still definitely very much on. I don't think you're exactly running away with it like you have in other seasons.
No. Well, I already ran away with it one season, to be fair. Tejay gave me a big battle, which maybe is why he's a massive letdown this time.
Yeah, I think the biggest, like, TJ's really fell off, hasn't he? If you look at the
I am here, boys. I am here.
He was really right there at the front, challenging for titles season 1 and 2. He was one of the best drivers in the league, top of the time trial leaderboards as well at certain tracks, but he's not been able to convert now this game.
The bottle job.
Just drive fast. It's not that deep.
Top 20 time in Singapore. I don't know.
Just drive fast.
Oh, he used to be really good at... Can you match the top Singapore times now?
Probably not anymore. No.
What
Lol.
about? It used to be right at the top of Brazil. I remember on the off game.
Yeah, Brazil. That was a good track. I like Brazil. Until I know, like when you like
So we finished
23 laps
7th
in
there in
of the
season
wet,
1.
23 laps in the wet, 30 seconds in front, and then get taken out. Lewis.
Something interesting I've
The
just
old
seen.
rivalry comes back.
They've got the like lineups for who's doing testing tomorrow, and
Mhm.
Fittipaldi is doing morning and afternoon for whatever reason.
Magnussen
okay.
doesn't get any time
I
in the car
thought
now,
Hassan
does
doing
he?
morning because we couldn't get ready.
Well, I
ready
don't know.
in
They've
time.
written it down, but
Oh.
I don't know. They might not show up.
Yeah.
Will Magnussen get any time now in the car, or will he just?
Oh, you will, surely.
He will get a session, will he?
Surely
he
he
will.
will.
Maybe on a Saturday or something, like a session.
You'd hope so. You'd hope his.
They've got 4
first-
days.
If he gets thrown into it, like, well, you still got
Well, it'll
practice.
be FP1, but
Yeah.
okay. So, who has impressed you most this season, TJ?
In IFC or
Yeah.
Tier 1?
No, just across the tiers in the server. Who is?
Taylor definitely, because I thought we didn't have his time trials when we were placing drivers, and I thought he'd be a tier 6.
What?
So no, I'm serious. I'm serious.
I'm serious.
I'm serious. And yeah, I thought he'd end up being in a tier 6, but he's smashing in tier 5 right now, and he's probably the most consistent guy in IFC.
I don't know if I'd say the most consistent, but he's showing
He's got
a
few
really
wins.
strong
He's got a lot
pace.
of wins.
He has, but he is
Yeah.
definitely a lot quicker than anyone else in that lobby at the moment, at least.
Yeah, he hasn't finished lower than second, except for a crash in Japan.
Yeah,
That's a good season.
it's a good season, to be fair. I've been very impressed by Omega this season. I think.
Well, not anymore. He's gone.
Well, he's gone. No, but he'll be back. He'll be back. He's taking a small
Yeah, he left.
sabbatical.
Now he left.
Yeah, but he'll be back. He'll be back before you know it. Anyway, like, he's been quite incredibly unlucky in some races. A lot of crashes, which aren't his fault. And he's had really impressive pace stepping up from tier 2 last season, I thought. Like, he's been right there just outside of, like, the front runners on many occasions. And he's had some good results, I thought.
Podium in Netherlands as well. That was a good drive.
Yeah, he drove well there.
He took out the guy that was going to win the race, but you know.
Who would that be, TJ?
Me, myself, and I.
Oh, okay.
I'd say the person that's impressed me the most this season would be Koye. I think it's Koye. When you look at
It's not a bad shot.
tier 3 last season, he finished second, in a very, very closely contested season between him, Keep Hyper, and Ruiz. And then him and Keep both moved up to tier 2, and Koye's absolutely demolishing them. And then Ruiz is still in tier 3 and has 4 points. So for those people to have been so close to him,
I do know who's impressed
he's
me.
completely outclassed them both.
On Oscar, who's
I
impressed you?
think TJ's impressed me.
How so?
The fact that he still hasn't retired from the grid.
Thank you.
He's still
Determination.
and I still
Yeah.
go. That's very impressed me, mate. Well done.
Okay.
TJ's impressed me with his IQ.
My IQ's brilliant.
African
I mean,
IQs.
156, man.
Really, for some context, we did some IQ tests, and
120
out of
something.
me, Carsey, TJ, and Adam, TJ was significantly the
The
lowest.
first language isn't English. Come on.
Do it in Welsh, then. Anyway.
There's no options to do it in Welsh.
I think we'll hit a few
Yeah, 'cause we're
quick fire
stupid.
questions from people. Are we excited or nervous for the upcoming F1 game? What are we thinking, boys?
I'm not excited. I'm not excited. I heard there's supercars in it. I heard there's supercars in it. I don't want. I just give us.
Oh yeah,
F3 or
supercars. What's
something.
going on with that? Yeah.
I'm worried. I
I've
think
got
it's
to
gonna
the
be a
course
push
of
to
that.
be
What's the
honest.
point?
Now EA are steering the ship. I'm very much nervous, and
Yeah,
this could
I'm not.
go
Never.
anywhere. We could have an absolute glorious. They might fix the servers, and we have crossplay, and we have a thriving server of 1,000 league races on mixed
I
platforms.
low-key don't want crossplay.
I
confirmed.
Me too.
I
Me
low-key
too.
don't
I
want
think
it.
it will go wrong. If
Yeah,
it was
that's
done well, it would be great. But I think there will still be. I think there will be performance gaps between platforms. Still, because
Yeah.
there is
Yeah, I
now,
think you're
and
right.
I don't see them fixing it well. I don't know, what do you
There's
think?
so
right
much
with
more
that.
to improve. Like,
Yeah.
do you
There's
know
great potential, but there's also it could be a disastrous.
one
But this game-
feature which would be safe for league racing? I was thinking about it. Is like a live like FIA, like so someone who can like control
Yeah.
penalties.
Like an iRacing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Completely
yeah.
agree.
Well, I don't know how iRacing works,
I
but
want
Or
simple things. I
just
want a
yeah.
manual pit lane and cooldown lap. That's honestly what I want most.
I
don't
want
necessarily
an
have anything.
ability for us to decide what rules are enforced. Like, give us complete control over what happens in
Yeah.
each lobby if we're owning it. Like,
That is true.
with penalties on like corner cutting only. Like, just let us do what we want so we can avoid BS like safety car penalties. You know,
Yeah.
let us keep corner cutting, speeding, and pit lane stuff like that. Even collision penalties, I just don't want so that the FIA can decide them instead. You know.
I'd also say that I would prefer. They could learn a couple things from ACC in my mind. One with the replay system, which is brilliant in ACC and terrible in F1. I'd say the replay system in F1 is next to useless. And
Yeah.
then the corner cutting model of the game knowing if you've gained time through the corner cutting you've made, compared to the simple, like, they've just got a little boundary, and if your wheel touches it, you automatically get a penalty. So, like, it's so like separate from how real racing is.
yeah.
If you're losing time by going off track, why on earth would you be punished for it? I don't really understand that, but
Yeah, I've also linked with like just being able to control the penalties during the race.
I do not have faith for EA to deliver what I feel like we want. I feel
Yeah,
like
but
they'll cater more
isn't
to
it
the
still
kind of
Codemasters
career
making
mode
the game,
people.
but just EA owns it? Actually, probably they also have the say in it, wouldn't they? Yeah. So,
I don't know. And have we heard about the F1 Manager 2022 game? And are we excited for that?
things I
I
don't know.
actually
Like,
am quite excited for that.
yeah, but I don't see what you can do. Like, you know what I mean?
What do you
No.
mean?
It'll be
Like,
like
is
Football
it-
Manager, but for F1.
No, but I know that. But like, we've got Korean. So you know my career in bloody what's the current game? Like, what else could you do? Like, would
I
just be
know
more
it
Have you
has
ever
intense.
F2
played
and F3 in it.
Motorsport Manager on your phone or
Like,
your?
would it be like live like race strategies like during the race, but like you're not actually racing?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, I'm sure there would be.
Have you ever played Motorsport Manager?
I have, yeah. I quite like that.
Yeah, it'll just be that, but licensed and better,
yeah.
Okay,
which I would be very happy with.
there's a question here which I feel I'm probably the only one qualified to answer: is how is IFC founded? And basically, there was a league called Formula Jags where I believe there was me, Pete, Mac, and Nifty all raced, and Brad as well. Does any of you know if any of the others were racing in Formula Jags?
Didn't Ben
I have no idea.
show up? Or was he-
Ben did race there, and then there was also Headshot and Cypher, and we made up the first IFC admin team as we wanted to make that only because we didn't like some of the things going on there, and Cypher was the first one with the idea, and he was the original owner of IFC, and then he ended up leaving, and Arrows was made owner, and we've like slowly formed the admin team we have over time, but we're effectively just a little like a splinter from Formula Jags, who are no longer really a thing, and I think we've grown a lot bigger than we ever really expected to when we made it, which has been nice. I think, have we got any more questions? Let me check. No, we've kind of covered all the other questions just through talking, basically. So I think we're good
How's
to call
your ear,
it a day there.
teacher?
Has anyone got
What's
anything
that?
else they'd like to
How's
say?
your ear?
It's hurting me very much.
How's
Very
TJ's
much.
ear? That is a good
Russian.
question.
His headset's still digging it.
Okay, well, thank you very much for those who listened. I'm sure there will be another Race Merchants podcast at a undecided time, most likely after Bahrain testing, maybe with some different faces. But thank you very much, and we'll see you then.
Shalom.
What are you saying, Shalom?
Oh, big
That was
outro
alright.
from
That was like an
TJ.
hour almost. Let me find TJ shitty tweet about Silent X. Give me a sec. I'll read it out.
Yeah. It was worded much better than what you did. My English literature
Get 10%
is
off with the code IFC.
Is it code IFC?
It
Make sure
is
to use
code
code
IFC.
IFC at checkout to get 10% off your purchase.
That's perfect, dude. Do I? So yeah.
He's
Alright.
getting so gas over a simple sentence. Fuck no.
I was gonna say that's the most basic bitch advert sentence I've ever heard. It's
No,
not an
just 'cause I
original
want you
thought,
to do
TJ.
it.
That's what
I
everyone
just-
who has
yeah.
like a G Fuel
That's
advert
why I
ever
want
said.
you to do it. You do that. Say
Okay,
it.
so I'll just say like welcome to.
And we all do one word
Okay.
each. And
Okay.
Shut the fuck up. I'll
What?
do it.
Tejay, I see no Twitter
That'll be
I
post.
can
class.
do it
It'll
if
be
you
class.
shut up for a second, okay?
Shut up.
IFC is sponsored by Silent X Energy. Use code IFC at checkout for 10% off. Caffeine free with no added sugar. Keep you ahead on track.
Oh shit.
Just say,
Use
alright,
code
Oscar, are you
IFC.
recording or not?
I am recording, yeah.
Okay, so, should I do it? I'll just, like, say something.
IFC are partnered with Silent X Energy with zero sugar, no added caffeine. No
Why
added
does he sound so sad?
I'm not sad.
Guys,
Oh,
IFC
that's
are partner.
miserable. Carsey, why didn't you do it? You try it, Carsey.
Yeah,
I
you
think
guys- IFC are proud to announce we are affiliated with Silent X Energy. With zero sugar, no added caffeine, and all natural ingredients, Silent X Energy will keep you ahead on track. Use code IFC at silentxenergy.com
Just
for
use
10% off any orders.
Just use that. I'm done. Alright, say less. I'll just put that in.
Is that the ad with
Oh.
Carsey laughing in the middle?
Yeah.
TJ reading out
Yeah.
so monotone.
Yep, right. Stop
And it
recording,
says we're
done.
proud.
Okay, does anyone need a shit before we start?
I do, but I can hold it in.
I don't. Right, I'm back to
I can hold it.
He just muted himself again.
Bro, we've got two people just trying to hold it, okay.
My ears going.
This is a fine, alright. Nifty
Huh?
doesn't know what he's talking about all the time. He's the most easily influenced head of FI. He's worse than fucking Michael Massey,
Massey?
honestly.
Content.
If
Yeah.
you think Jonathan Wheatley influences Michael Massey, you should see me and Carsey in an FI agency, honestly.
I am
Like-
recording.
I don't care. I fucking upload this.
I will. I will.
This is IFC Extra. This is IFC Extra.
Widely pissed off.
Okay, question. Does Pete win in Tier 4?
No.
No.
No, Pete does not win.
Who